Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Social Contract, a Commander podcast. I'm Mike Almond, and joining me is my co-host, Alex Lapp. Alex, what's up, man?
Not too much, Mike. Today we have some very special guests representing the Commander Spellbook website, which is the project that I've been working on with EDH Rec for quite some time now. So we'll go ahead and introduce here. We've got Goldshot, Apple, and Jaelyn, the members of my team. Let's go ahead and start with Goldshot. What's up, man?
Not much. Just doing a lot of combos on the daily.
Apple?
Not doing
What's
a whole
up?
lot.
That's good fun. Jaelyn, how are you doing?
I'm
today?
doing well. Sorting through social media posts for the next
Fantastic.
week for the Commander Spellbook.
Yeah, Jalen's controlling our social media and got some great community interaction. So we'll say this again at sign-off, but if you're interested in our project, that's commanderspellbook.com, or on Twitter @commanderspell, or on Instagram @commanderspellbook. And Mike, let's get started.
Yeah,
here.
so, I mean, if you're interested in our product, in what we're putting out there, the Spellbook, it sounds really cool. So help me out. What is the Spellbook? Jaelyn, you're talking about how you're going through all of the social media posts and everything for it. So what are people posting to? What are they posting about? Tell me a little bit about what your project is.
So the Commander Spellbook, our tagline is the search engine for EDH combos, is as comprehensive as we can get it, a database filled with every single combo that we can find that will either win the game or create a loop that's more likely to win you the game. So like infinite mana, for example, geared, of course, towards the Commander format.
That totally makes sense. And, I'm on the website and playing with it, and we talk about how there's Alex and I talk about how there's so many cards in Magic and there's so many interactions. When you're into the point where you're looking at near 9,000 combos, that makes sense, because I'm sitting here, we decided and sneak peek behind the curtain a little bit later where we're going to talk about some of our favorite combos. Yeah, there's a lot more than I thought in a couple of my own decks. There were a couple of infinite combos that I didn't even realize that I had in a couple of decks. So it's actually been really cool. So I'll tell you what, Apple, going into this project, what was something that you learned that you weren't ready for?
Something that really surprised me, like I wasn't really expecting, was how much work actually goes into like making things presentable and like making things readable for other people. Because when you're just working on like, you're just coming up with lists of ideas and you just write them down and you send them off. That's not you just basically writing your stream of conscience on how something works is not readable to anyone else. Like I was that kid who, like, in high school, when like I would answer a question, the teacher would ask somebody to translate, and it's like and especially when you're trying to make like a public facing product that you expect other people to be able to use and understand, that's really not what you want.
Yeah, and I not only do I get that, but looking at the website itself, first of all, it's really clean, which I'm in the process of trying to sort out that for my in real life job, and my jealousy is, let it be known, it is on full display here. I might be.
Well, I want to give a shout out here to our invaluable developer, Blade Behringer, who created our incredible design.
Nice.
Now, we all work together to make this project, but the website itself is Blade's handiwork, and goodness gracious, he is, I mean, you can see if you're looking at our homepage right now, we have this excellent sunset gradient. We have a great logo that was made by an independent artist, and it just looks like a clean, excellent website, and I think that just is really inviting.
And it helps that he has like a comic book name too. It rolls off the tongue super well.
It really does.
It's like, hey, Blade, you want to cut off some of the CSS?
I mean, the Infinity Cog is very cool.
Oh yeah,
it's a very that is.
I think it's a great
sweet
logo.
We're talking about thousands upon thousands of combos for EDH. Like I said, the number that we're looking at right now, 8,941.
Yeah. In our database, I think we just crossed 9K.
Well, there you go. So I'll tell you what, Gold, is this a number you thought was going to be higher, lower? When you were first diving into it, what were you thinking you were going to come up with?
I never really expected to get this far. Every time I think about the scale and the scope, it's just crazy. It's like, okay,
Sure.
think about free sack outlets for starters. That's just an insane amount of combos to begin with. All the combos with a sack outlet, they now have that many variations. Now you can build your own free sack outlet in all kinds of ways, and that just tones up the amount. It's a really crazy scale to think about that I never really expected walking in.
No, that makes sense. I mean, again, how many thousands upon thousands of cards that are available to use in EDH, and then just when you talk about things that people traditionally use, like a sack outlet, which is so easy to combo with, but what does that really mean? Well, it means for this website and for the compendium that you put together, okay, does it win the game instantly? Does it give so much value in an infinite loop that it's tangential to winning the game? And again, when you're talking about not even knowing if this was going, like, I didn't know we were going to get this far, I get it more and more as I'm looking into it, because it's a really cool, everybody who hasn't, if you're driving or whatever and you're listening to this, don't. But if you're sitting at a computer,
when you park.
Yeah, if you've got an opportunity, just go to commanderspellbook.com, which, great job getting that URL. That's pretty helpful. Mm-hmm. And literally just type in a card and see the combos that adapt with it and what you can use. This is pretty ridiculous, Alex. You all have done something pretty amazing here. So if you haven't gotten enough kudos yet, I'm giving them to you all. Thanks for coming on to the podcast, and holy cow, I'm going to use this. And I'm not a combo player. I love this stuff.
Yeah, Mike.
One interesting thing that we have, though,
Sure.
just to show the scale of everything, is about a ninth of our database combos specifically with the card Retreat to Coral Helm, which is a draft chaff uncommon from Battle for Zendikar. So there's so much potential here, and one of the big problems we're trying to grapple with is all of these variations, because Phyrexian Altar probably also has over 2,000 combos with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's an excellent feature that we've integrated, is certain combos are themselves part of larger and more complex combos. Mm-hmm. Like you might have an Ashnod's Altar and then a payoff card, but then if you add another card on top of that, you can turn that into Infinite Draw. Or maybe if you add a card on top of that, you can turn it into Infinite Mill. So we have this nice feature that we programmed in, where if this combo is itself entirely contained within a larger combo, the engine will go ahead and find that combo for you.
It's not just a, oh, well, these two cards make this combo. It's a...
Yeah. So you want to get fancy sometimes.
Yeah, there's pieces where I'm looking at 4 or 5 cards and going, okay, yeah, that does it. And being able to even just sort it by, oh, by the way, this will get you infinite card draw, infinite life gain, and infinite colorless mana. And the one that I've picked myself today is one with infinite enter the battlefield, infinite leave the battlefield, death triggers, sacrifice triggers, and damage in a deck that I had with all 3 of these cards in it. And I think I was aware of the combo. I just never actually got to do it. I might be building that deck again just because it was a fun deck.
That's our upcoming landmark feature for probably next year. Mm-hmm. The big one that we want to temper expectations. It's probably not going to be this year, but as soon as we can get it done, our big next one that we're doing is going to be Rex. Just like you can put in your deck list into EDH Rec and get recommendations for your deck.
Very cool.
We hope to have a feature where you can put in your deck list and it'll find all the combos and maybe even some combos that you can add in with just one extra card.
That's awesome. And again, you're talking about what you're going to be working on in the future here.
Yeah, that's a future goal.
I know how much work has gone into this. How long has everybody been working on this project? I know that we've, been in different kind of timelines, but I mean, Alex, I'll start with you. How long have you been working on this project?
Yeah. So I joined almost right at the beginning of February 2020. I was brought in by a founding mod, Untraceables, and came in as a server judge. That's something I love to do, is go on Discord servers and just offer judge knowledge and chill out with people, and kind of ingratiated myself and eventually joined the leadership and assumed control in December of last year. And this has just been a great community. That's everyone contributes. We have all different levels of contributors. We have the people who submit the combos. We have our editors who review them and make sure that they're all okay. And then we have our moderation team, which we have live with us today, that are actually taking the combos live and making everything tick. So everybody helps, no matter at what level. We have thousands of members and everyone's helping.
How about you, Jaelyn?
So I actually joined as a writer for EDH Rec, June of last year, maybe a little bit earlier than that. And at around the same time was when it was either when the combo database was being put onto EDH Rec or immediately after. And via the EDH Rec site, I saw our Discord server, the Commander Spellbook Discord server, and I joined there. And I just tagged along, submitted combos when I found them. I'm mostly proud of the Nadir plus Food Chain combo. I will never stop talking about that. And I also helped out with judge work. I'm only a rules advisor technically, but I've taken all the tests to become a level 1 judge. I just can't afford it quite yet until quarantine's over.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, first of all, congratulations. Second of all, rooting for you.
Yeah, it's just got to stick together.
How about you, Gold? How long have you been working on this?
I don't have an exact date when I joined, but
sure.
I joined in one of the waves of people from Reddit. Every once in a while, a Reddit post gets put out at a landmark, and I saw, I want to say, the 2000 combo landmark. And I had just picked up Discord a while back, and I said, why not? I like combos, I like Magic. Sounds like a great place. I joined, and I rose throughout the ranks until eventually I hit the mod status.
Now, it's worth mentioning here that Commander Spellbook did not always have a companion website. Once we started, we were only available by searching our combos through a Discord channel, through the searching Discord feature. And that was one of our main complaints, is like, oh, well, this is a great service, but I don't want to log on to Discord and search. So that's when we knew that we had to get this onto a website and make it a little bit more fancy.
What Lapper said is actually a really nice transition, because when I first joined the server, I looked at it, I saw the Discord search thing. I had basically never used Discord before. I went, that looks confusing, and then closed it and never looked at it again for months. And and then one of my friends texted me a few months later or whatever, was like, did you see this website? And I was like, oh, they have a website now. That's pretty cool. And I looked at, and I looked through and I mean, I guess I liked what I saw, and I ended up joining the server and submitting stuff. I think I was made an editor within the day, and I think I became a mod within a month or two of joining the server, because it was COVID time and I had literally nothing to do. My summer job had ended, and I kind of just lived on the server.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll take anybody.
Well, no, that's not true. You won't take anybody. I'm
just kidding. No, we have a great team.
Work and not just knowledge, but dedication that would have to come with a project like this. I mean, we're talking over a year in the making, so it really does show. And with that, I think the last thing I want to ask each of you before we get into the more combo-centered things, because I want to give this project and this website as much shine as possible here, because it's, again, dope. I'm going to ask you individually, but I'm going to put Alex on the spot first, because that's my job. Alex, what was your favorite part about putting this together, about this project in general?
Absolutely. I just love the sense of community, because this really was a grassroots effort. Everybody came together and decided that this is a knowledge base that we want to work on together. And that's always been something that touches my heart. The idea of a common source of contributed effort, a project worked on together, like wikis, like Wikipedia and other wikis, where anyone can contribute at any level that they feel comfortable with. And even if it's not their best effort, that's not professional level work, it doesn't matter, because there are other people there who will clean it up, and there are other people who will clean their work up, and honestly, we're all just pitching in our own way, and this is just something that's really cool. Special.
And I'm like I said, I'm going to ask everybody, but if your answer is the same as Alex's, don't worry, say that. I'm not going to get mad if you're using somebody else's work here, because I'm going to be using a lot of your all's work for a lot of the decks that I'm going to be making. Jaelyn, what was your favorite part in putting all this together?
This is the kind of hypothesis that I have, and I've discussed this at length with my fellow mods at the Spellbook, is, and I don't speak for any site when I say this, but sure. I've always interpreted these things as being for accessibility. We are taking all of the knowledge and all of the wisdom that we've acquired in our time playing EDH or playing Magic, and we're trying to put it into a data-based website or a combo database. That's the same thing, but whatever. So that it's easily accessible and easily digestible for as many people as possible. And there's also the community aspect. I agree with Alex there. But yeah, that's sort of like the goal, the thesis that I was thinking of.
Jaelyn has a great point. I don't want to interrupt anyone else here, but I will interject that our website is 100% seeing impaired compliant. It is able to be viewed with screen readers for the seeing impaired. Cool. And I think that's a great feature for because there are blind EDH players.
It's useful for me sometimes. My head starts hurting when I look at a screen for too long, and I can't.
Gotcha. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, there you go. That's really cool of you guys. I guess from there, Gold. How about you? What's your favorite part of what you've been able to accomplish with this project?
So, not to steal Alex's thing, but yeah, the community is one of the greatest things I've seen out of here. It's just really incredible to think that there's this giant community of people who love combos, love EDH, and just want to sit down and talk about it. You can almost always start up conversation there. During spoiler season, there's always people excited to talk about the new cards coming out. It's just a really good time.
I dig that. And how about you, Apple?
I feel like a big part of it is like feeling that like you're spending your time in like a meaningful way. I guess this is like sort of ties into what Alex said earlier, but it's the idea that like the work we're doing is not just for your own sake or just because you felt like doing it. It's you're doing something that will like have a meaningful impact on the rest of the community and like be useful to other people. It's not like you're just doing it because you felt like it and it was cool. I mean, that's a perfectly valid reason to do things. But when it also is like useful to other people, it really makes it that much more special.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. You're making, you've all, whether it's just the people, whether I'm talking to just the people on this podcast with us or the people like Blade who have gotten the look right and the dozens of other people that I'm sure, we would love to give shine to in making this project happen and the amount of work and the community. It's something that you've made as a community, which is really impressive. And more importantly, it's there to assist people in this game that we all love. And when you're talking about a resource like that, it absolutely deserves attention, and we're going to give it a little bit more specific attention when we come back from our break, because I'm going to let everybody have an opportunity to talk about their favorite combos that are also in here.
All right.
So we are going to take a quick break. We'll be back with some awesome combos and talk more about the Spellbook, everyone. We'll see you in a second. All right, we're back, and we've talked about the Spellbook and how awesome it is as far as finding combos, and whether it's finding combos that you might not have thought of or just trying to find new combos. There's literally a random button that I've been playing with in the middle of our break, which has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, right.
But let's talk about combos in general, because, when we're looking at combos are extremely powerful, obviously. They are sometimes, if not most of the time, a way to win the game because you've created some kind of infinite loop or some kind of value engine that is just so powerful that it's not something you can overcome. And that might not fly in the face, it kind of flies in the face of what we talk about at the Social Contract, where it's about, politics, group hug, fun, symmetrical things along those lines. So we're kind of skirting a line here, Alex, and I think it's probably a good idea for us to go further detail into that. What do you think?
Absolutely, Mike. Combos tend to be something that seem spiky and can set some people off. They can make people feel like you're winning out of nowhere. And that can result in a feels bad situation because there are a lot of people who like to use combos to win the game. Many different decks and types of decks use combos to win of some variety. And really, there just aren't that many individual ways to win the game that aren't related to doing a combo. So a combo is going to represent a large class of different win cons, like infinite damage, infinite mill, infinite life gain, infinite mana, infinite draw. There's so many different ways for a combo to pop off, and so there's a lot of different kinds. And I think the main issue is that people feel, like I said, it's out of nowhere. So my solution to that, we've talked about this before, is you need to be very verbose with what you're doing and be open to your table. When you're assembling a combo, you don't want to be hiding it so that people aren't aware that it's being constructed. When you're one or two paces away from winning, you can say, look, I have this piece and this piece, and I'm going to go find this piece. And when I do, if no one can stop me, I'm going to win the game. So you guys might want to figure something out. This is something that can very much attenuate that feels bad situation. Just making sure everyone's on the same page about what you're constructing. Because, Mike, the fact of the matter is that not everybody has every combo memorized, and not everyone can look at a piece that isn't in and of itself threatening and say, oh, that's a part of a very powerful combo that they could be assembling right now. So you just want to make that available to people.
Not everybody knows and memorized every combo that exists, and
that's why we have our website.
Even if I had all the time in the world, and I love you all. It's been a wonderful conversation. I am not going to go through every single individual combo on the website and memorize each one of them. I think for me and for the rest of you on the Spellbook project, I kind of want to get your thoughts on this too. I don't mind combos really at all. I don't even mind if they come out of nowhere. What I dislike is when it is, oh, this person is sitting down and they're going to win with this one thing that they do with the deck. Not a huge fan of running tutors because it takes a lot of ambiguity away from what I'm trying to do. I like that it's just a whole bunch of craziness, and I'm Battlecruiser Magic player, so I like just seeing crazy stuff happen, even if it's not for myself. So when I see somebody that I know is going to try and win with Lab Maniac, my heart doesn't sink, but my shoulders just kind of slump a little bit because I know that's what's going to happen. What about you all? I mean, I know you care at least about combos in a way, shape, and form because, hello, Commander Spellbook. But how do you feel about combos? And if you think they get a bad rap, why do you think so? Let's go ahead and start with Jaelyn.
So there are two problems, and we did echo this a little bit, echoing what Alex and Mike said. There are two problems with combos that many casual EDH players dislike, and that is their out of nowhereness. That's the technical term, of course. And their ambiguity, their consistency, their repetition. That's the term. But I don't think that's necessarily an inherent problem with combos so much as it is an inherent problem with just every deck leaning too much on one win con.
Sure.
I write the staple remover articles, so one big problem that I have is these sorts of generic win cons in general, like Craterhoof Behemoth. I find that to be exactly as boring as Laboratory Maniac. So as a result of that, my favorite combos, in order to abate this problem, are ones that have a lot of redundancy with them, so that you can have, you can put together this machine of like 20 different parts potentially, and you can create a combo off of that. And two, ones that, as Alex said earlier, that you build over multiple turns so that you're not just winning out of nowhere.
I like that. That makes a lot of sense. Apple, what about you?
I feel like... There's a couple elements to it where...
You're good.
Sometimes it's just, if you're trying to sit down and, like, play a certain kind of game, or it's like, for example, one of my favorite decks to play, despite being a moderator for the Spellbook, is Selesnya Angels. And the only combo in the deck, as I like to put it, is I play a 6-drop Angel into a 7-drop Angel into an 8-drop Angel, and then I turn them sideways. Like, that's the only combo in the deck. And when you're trying to play a bunch of basically fair flying creatures, and your opponent, like especially like out of nowhere, just goes, okay, I'm gonna play these 2 cards and win the game, and it's like, oh, so nothing I did mattered. That's cool. And like if everyone's playing decks that are like at least somewhat prepared to deal with something like that, or have something similar going on, that can work. But like when someone's trying to play like their big creature stompy deck, which is really just like doesn't really have anything unfair going on, and another player is playing combo deck, it's not particular. Those 2 players aren't going to have fun together. And yeah, and sort of building off of that idea as well is sort of like the idea of like one of the players kind of just winning out of nowhere. And I don't even mean it's like as like a total surprise, but like the player hasn't really done anything, like they're behind, and while there's nothing wrong with like a little bit of swinginess to get back into the game, going from the person who's behind, who no one really wants to beat up on because they haven't really been doing anything, to suddenly just ending the game, there was like, it just feels like the game just ended, right? And there was no progression or anything. It was just, oh, okay, guess that's done.
Yeah, I again, the feels bad because it's a surprise versus the repetition of seeing either losing the same way or building a deck to where the entire thing wins. I think that's where it gets a bad rap, and that's not necessarily true. That doesn't. I think a lot of the time when we talk about synergy versus combo, there is a hard dividing line. But at the same time, if you get to do something that your deck is supposed to be able to do, and because you've built your deck in a certain way and it allows you to build off that, and this cascades, pardon the pun, cascades into this, which turns into this, which turns into this, even if it's not infinite, that is a combo in some way, shape, or form. I think it's those infinite combos that come out of nowhere, or are just, again, I can't say the word lab man without, groaning a little bit. But that's me, and that's not to take away from anybody else's fun. Gold, what about you? You're a part of this project. You're obviously well versed in combos. How do you feel about combos in general, and do you think they get a bad rap?
I love combos in the game as well.
Nice.
I run a combo deck. My playgroup sometimes gets salty, but in the end, I always have another deck on hand because I know that not everyone loves combos as much as me. I think one of the big reasons it has this feels bad effect is because, kind of like Infect, you can't really interact with it. You're sitting here with your combo engine and playing one game while everyone else is trying to inflict lethal combat damage and playing a second game. You can't really interact with it outside of removal.
Actually, I really like that connection between combo and infect.
Me too.
I think that's a really profound connection there. But I think that combos in general are like not like infect, but like combat in general, better if they're more interactive, because like across multiple types of permanents, so that if somebody just happens to have swords to plowshares, they can interrupt it if they want. Or maybe your combo is through combat. Several of our combos, like infinite combat combos, especially using Combat Celebrant, can be interacted with through combat. So those are usually a lot fairer.
Yeah, and I think at the same time, you mentioned it specifically. You have other decks. Like, you have a combo deck, but you have other decks. And it goes back to what we were talking about the social contract in general, where there is an expectation on everybody what you're playing. The entire purpose is to create this enjoyable experience together. So if that's something where there's a conversation before, or you sit down with a new group of people and you say, this is what this deck is, it tries to do this. At that point, as far as I'm concerned, you're good. The idea of, Alex has talked about it several times on the podcast. I have this piece, I have this piece, I'm going to go find this piece. And this is what it's going to do. There is a difference between just giving away information that costs you the game and keeping information that causes you to win the game, but it feels bad for the table. And depending on your play group, depending the people you're playing with, and frankly, depending on the combo, I think that can be, these little fine lines that you have to kind of, stay in your lane and try not to swerve too much, because we're all sharing the same road here together, and it's just making sure that we're in a good position. You're absolutely right. I agree with you.
That's a balancing act.
The idea of comparing it to Infect in its way, it does make sense, because in and of itself, Infect is playing a separate game in the game that by itself isn't too terrible. If you really look at it, it's not. You're building a deck with one purpose. Doing a combo is the same way, and I appreciate that. That actually is going to temper my thinking and how I look at combos in the future. And speaking of which, we've talked about combos and seeing them on the awesome website that you have. We're going to plug it 1,000 times, commanderspellbook.com. And talking about combos at large, let's have a little bit of fun with it, though. We're all bringing different combos to the table. And I've got mine along with my number on the spell book here. But I want to start with Alex. I always want to start with Alex. Alex, tell me about your favorite combo.
Well, Mike, I think you might have a guess as to what my favorite combo is. And this combo is featured, and don't you?
No, I just realized that I said the words like, I'm going to try and give combos a good chance because they could be interesting and fun and not terrible and mean.
Oh,
and then I made the mistake of knowing exactly where you were going and starting with you. But that's okay.
You knew exactly where I was going with this, Mike. And my combo is really more of a lock, the Mindslaver lock. Very classic here. The Mindslaver lock consists of Mindslaver and Academy Ruins. Let's go ahead and read those two real quick. Mindslaver, it's a 6-mana legendary artifact with 4 tap and sack. You control target player during that player's next turn. Hell yes. And then after that, we've got Academy Ruins, which is a legendary land with tap at colorless and 1 and a blue and tap. Put target artifact card from your graveyard on top of your library. So you see where this is going. You're going to activate the Mindslaver, controlling a player. And then once it goes to your graveyard, you're going to use Academy Ruins to put it on top of your library. And then your next turn, you're going to draw and cast Mindslaver again. Now you're going to need 12 additional mana to make this work. But this, Mike, is a excellent lock. It is very difficult for the one person you've decided to lock down to get out of this. Now, this won't lock down the whole table, which is ideal, because you know my deck. It's a stacks deck that exists to hose one person. So a Mindslaver lock is very appropriate for a win con for my Silver Bullet deck.
That makes sense. It's a scary thing. It's in the right kind of deck where you're an archenemy and you've determined that you're going to be an archenemy. Well, I'm gonna shackle the archenemy. Here we go. Which I totally understand.
Now, if this combo is if this combo sounds interesting to you, you go ahead and search up Mindslaver on the Commander Spellbook website, and go ahead and click the Buy This Combo button, which right now you can buy it for about $10 to $14. So go nuts.
It's pretty solid. You know what? I'm going to keep the same order that I've been going with. Jaelyn, why don't you tell me about your favorite combo?
So there's like 2 different ideas behind cool combos. There's cool combos in theory, and then there's cool ones in practice.
Sure.
In theory, I'm a massive Vorthos player, so one of my favorite combos is between Lethal Vapors, Teferi's Protection, and anything that stops people from activating activated abilities on your turn, such as a Grand Abolisher. This is combo 1812 on our database. But basically, the shtick is you cast Lethal Vapors, you activate it an arbitrarily large number of times, like a million times, so that you skip the next million turns, and then you cast Teferi's Protection so that you phase out until the beginning of your next turn. And then you basically just leave the game until everybody else decks themselves. This is not a good combo.
Jaelyn, that is one of my favorite combos in the game, and the best part about it is that you basically just check out. So there's nothing that anyone can do to you except if they have an alternate win con that wins them the game on the spot. Then you're just kind of hosed because you can't interact with anything.
Yeah.
You have no mana. Your hand, you can't cast anything out of your hand, really. So what a fun combo. This is basically I'm going to go grab lunch and you guys just let me know if anyone wins.
I
100
especially like
turns from
this
now.
one because Teferi's protection is supposed to represent Teferi phasing out Zalfir, a city, so that it isn't affected by the Phyrexian invasion in the story. And he never bothered bringing it back. Well, he doesn't know how to. So the way that they survived the Phyrexian invasion was they just checked out and never came back.
Yeah. I'm just sitting here imagining the person playing like 4 different chess games at different tables and they're rotating. And instead it's Jaelyn sitting at an LGS and playing this combo with this deck and then just leaving their deck there and moving to the next table, bringing out a new deck. And all right, I guess I'm going to start playing this game now. Let me know when something is finished in the other game. Oh, holy cow. That was hilarious.
Astronaut's
I
coupon.
love that. Apple, what's your favorite combo?
One of my favorites is Felidar Guardian plus Portcullis. I'll read the cards quickly. So Felidar Guardian is when Felidar Guardian enters the battlefield, you can blink something. You can blink any other permanent. And Portcullis, we're just going to go straight to Scryfall because it's from Stronghold, and we're not even going to bother reading the actual text. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, if there are 2 or more other creatures on the battlefield, exile that creature, and then when Portcullis leaves the battlefield, return all creatures exiled with Portcullis to the battlefield. And so one of the things I really like about this one, outside of the fact that it was one of the first ones I ever submitted, was it's just... Well, look, while Felidar Guardian is like one of the usual suspects for combos, Portcullis is just some weird old card that chances are no one's ever even heard of, let alone seen played before.
Sure.
And the fact that you can use it in your deck and like actually produce a meaningful result is really cool. And it's not even really the intended purpose of the card. Like, if you read the card, it seems pretty clear that it's supposed to, like, prevent people from just playing a bunch of creatures or, like, making a bunch of tokens. And that's not what we're using it for at all. And what the combo allows you to do is, if you've played another, well, it just gets infinite enters and leaves the battlefield, but if you've also played another creature with an enter the battlefield trigger, like, I don't know, that deals 1 damage to your opponent. Every time you do the loop, you'll ping your opponent for 1 until they die, or if you want to play something that draws cards, you can do that instead. It's also very flexible, which I'm a big fan of as well.
We finally broke Elvish Visionary.
We did it.
All right, everyone, call it a day. We did it. But before we do that...
we finally broke Teferi's protection.
Oh, man. Finally, that one's been on the list for a long time. Before we're satisfied with our results here, though, Gold, why don't you tell me about your favorite... Well, tell all of us about your favorite combo.
So mine's a very sentimental one. It is Mirren Spy, Phyrexian Walker, Retraction Helix, and Reckless Fireweaver. Mirren Spy is a 3-mana 1/3 with flying, and whenever you get to cast an artifact, you can untap target creature. Phyrexian Walker is a 0-mana 0/3, and it's an artifact. Reckless Fireweaver says whenever an artifact enters under your control, it's going to deal 1 damage to each opponent. And then to finish it off, we have Retraction Helix, and that gives target creature tap, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand until end of turn. So you want to target your Mirren Spy with it, and then you get to tap it to put the Phyrexian Walker back in your hand, cast it, and then that Mirren Spy trigger is going to let you untap your Mirren Spy again. This combo's been with me for a long time. When I first discovered combos, I was playing kitchen table with friends. I'd find the weirdest cards I could in their collection, and I'd try and trade them off of them. One day, I saw these cards sitting on my desk, and I said, I think I see a pattern here. And that was the first time that I realized that Magic actually had the ability to go infinite, and I was very proud of myself that day. That combo's been with me ever since. I took it with me into kitchen table. From there, I brought it into EDH when my playgroup moved to EDH. I put it in my Joyra deck. And when Emery got spoiled, I knew I need to build a deck with this, and I phased out the red, and the combo now resides in my Emery deck, which I'm no longer allowed to play.
Nice thing about this combo, too, is it's got a lot of redundancy. I think there's a functional reprint of Retraction Helix. I don't remember what it's called, but I know it exists.
Banishing Knack.
Banishing Knack, in case you're wondering.
There we go.
You can even phase out the Mirren Spy, and that can become a Chakram Retriever.
Or a Nettle Drone, actually.
Perfect.
Huh.
Or Traxos.
See, we're all brewers here, Mike. We're all just constantly brewing new combos. That's the best part.
If only there was some place for you to put them all.
CommanderSpellbook.com.
There's the plug. I'll tell you what. So I have one here, and my only regret is that I kind of made it on accident, and then I realized that it could be good, and then I never actually played with it because I took apart the deck before it became something that I got to use. So the first deck that I ever played against Alex with was my Amara Soul of the Accord deck. And that one just has the beautiful combo with a Thornbite Staff and with an Ashnod's Altar. And these are two of the most combo-y things I can think of, along with super sweet commander. So Amara, whenever they become tapped, you create a 1/1 soldier with lifelink, right? Well, Thornbite Staff says it's an equipment, says this creature deals 1 damage to target creature or player if you pay 2 and tap it. And more importantly, whenever a creature is put into a graveyard from play, untap this creature. Ashnod's Altar, everybody knows, just an artifact where you can sacrifice a creature to generate 2 mana. So the reason that I actually put this together is because this was very, very early in my Magic playing days, and I saw that Amara was an elf cleric that was carrying a staff that had the Selesnya symbol on it, and Thornbite Staff was a staff that I thought a shaman was close enough to a cleric, so I decided I was just going to put it in the deck for flavor reasons. And then eventually I got an Ashnod's Altar, and then eventually I started playing with people that knew a lot more about how to play the game than me, and pointed this out, and I went, oh. So the idea of having infinite enter the battlefield, infinite leave the battlefield, infinite death triggers, infinite sacrifice triggers, and infinite damage, all things that you can do with this, because tap Amara, paying 2 to go ahead and deal 1 damage to something. Great. Then sacrifice the token that Amara just made, which gives you 2 mana, untaps Amara, then you can tap Amara and do it, and just infinitely do this. And the idea of Amara just taking this Thornbite Staff, and it's 1 damage, so it's not this crazy powerful magic blast or anything in my head. It's literally Amara just going over and whacking somebody on the back of the head with the staff 40 times in a row, with people that's just dying in the background. It's just this weird flavor thing that I was like, okay, well that seems weird, but yay Selesnya. And yeah, it's a fun combo, and I never... Yeah.
It's a fun combo. Yeah. You can buy it right now on our website. Search up Amara for $20. You can get that whole combo.
If you're wondering if it's worth it to make Amara, I will let you know. It totally is. That was a super fun deck, and I probably need to build it again. So those are our favorite combos that we brought to this week's episode, and to kind of, again, outline the Commander Spellbook and what it does. This is a process that, as we've talked about and as you've heard already, it is a always growing process where I'm looking at it and it was, okay, 8,941 combos. Well, actually it's at 9,000, and as more cards come out, there'll be more added to it, which means more combos. And it's a really good thing that you're all on top of this with this awesome community and working together to make this. So I wanted to say thank you, because this is something that I'll be able to use in the future. And if it hasn't been established enough, you should all be really proud of this. This is really impressive.
Well, thank you, Mike. We definitely are. And even though we've been saying that this is the search engine for EDH combos, this is really the search engine for singleton combos, because we don't... We do index cards that are banned in EDH, so if you play Brawl, Oathbreaker, Highlander of any variety, any singleton format, you can find your combos on our website. We support
Another
them all.
great thing is if you just happen to run into any combos and you don't fully understand the combo, like the person who performed the loop didn't explain it well enough or something along those lines, you can probably just search it up on our site and find it, and it'll have a rundown there.
All of our sites, all of our combos explain the process of executing the combo in detail and the expected result. So we're just as friendly as possible. We don't just give you the cards and set you on your way. We explain it every step.
It's not a Sudoku where you give, okay, here are the cards. You figure out how they work. No, it is nice to actually have the steps, the prerequisites, the steps, and then the actual results, which frankly is much more than I usually get at the table if somebody is demonstrating a combo, even if I ask. So you've done great with that. I'll tell you what. Stop listening. Go check out this website. Go check everything out. Well, don't stop listening quite yet, because I want to make sure that you can find everybody. So I'll tell you what, everybody. Give me your plugs. Tell me where to find everything on Commander Spellbook. Tell me where to find you all, etc. Just give it all to me right here. Let's go.
So you can find my personal account at rosequartz_26 on Twitter, but no one cares about that. So you can also find the Commander Spellbook accounts. On Twitter, we are at Commander Spell. We couldn't get the book part, but that's fine. At Instagram, we are also at Commander Spellbook. We pretty much post the same stuff across those two places, and we post pretty often on r/EDH over on Reddit to try and get some interaction there too.
I actually have one thing that I think would be very good to plug. It is the Discord server for Commander Spellbook, because I haven't done enough plugging to meet my quota.
Hey, there you go.
All of the stuff, everything that you can find all of our socials and our Discord and pretty much everything at the footer of our website as well, so it's all really easily accessible at the bottom right corner over there.
Perfect. Well, that works really well. So again, like Jaelyn was just saying, on the community in the bottom right, it gives you their Patreon, Discord, Twitter, GitHub, back to EDH Rec, everything. Awesome compendium, awesome resource. All of you should be proud of it. Alex, you should be proud of it, and I talk to you every week. And
I am. Thank you. I'm proud of everyone here. I'm proud of everyone in our community. Everyone who's submitted a combo, looked at our website, joined our Patreon, retweeted us, all of our editors, judges, rules advisors. We have thousands of members, and this is a group effort, and I'm proud of every single one of them.
You should be proud. And if people are proud of you and want to let you know how proud they are, Alex, where can people find you on socials?
Absolutely, Mike. You can find me on Twitter at Lappermedic, Lapper Medic, or you can email me privately at alex@edhrec.com.
If you've enjoyed our conversation, please subscribe and rate the podcast. If you have any questions, comments, anything along those lines for us, you can follow us on Twitter at EDH_social or email us at thesocialcontractedh@gmail.com. Check out commanderspellbook.com, find some cool combos, bring them back. Tell us if there was something that you were excited to discover for a deck that you already had or a deck that you want to build. Regardless, we hope to talk to you soon.